Hey guys, Sergeant speaking for Earth Welcome Primitive. Out here talking about another wild edible today, and one that most everybody knows about. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Probably nothing new to y'all if you know a lot about it, but we're going to also demonstrate two ways that you can eat this today. We're here to talk about the common dandelion, which is common almost everywhere in the spring. It's a big bright yellow flower, and obviously it's the thing that kid blows on when they're a kid. He makes a wish, blows little parachutes in the air. But we're going to talk about this plant. Almost every single part of this plant, practically every single part of this plant is edible. As you can see, it's a yellow flower. The flower itself is edible. The buds itself, before they open, when these they're flowers and they'll close back up to make those buds. They're edible. You can use them pickled. You can also collect the seeds, which is a lot of gathering, but you can collect the seeds to make a flower, ground into flour. But you can also take these flower heads and make something else, which we're going to demonstrate later. The stems are edible. People will tell you that, but to some people, depending on people, how hypoallergenic your system is, the white milky sap, which can be collected and used as a weak form of glue, can be an irritant to some people. So, if you're a hypoallergenic person, you might not want to nibble on a dandelion stem, but everything else is edible. The leaves, I'll show you what a leaf looks like. They grow in rosettes. And believe it or not, most people eat these and don't even realize they're eating them. When you go to the grocery store and you buy those pre-mixed bags of field greens and whatnot, look at the contents and look at some of the leaves. They have dandelions in them. So most people will say, oh, I'll never eat a weed. Guess what? You're already eating weeds. You don't realize it. But these are edible all throughout their life. Now, when they're younger and in the spring, and the ones before, while the flower itself is budding and growing, some of the leaves down towards the end, and some submerged into the ground. This is what is this, May? We're in May now, so it's a little bit older of a plant. But in April, beginning of May, down in the ground, there'll be some flowers still, or leaves still budding. They're the best. The most tender, but you can eat these raw, the younger ones raw in a salad, or you can take the older ones or any of them and boil them or blanch them for 10 to 15 minutes or whatever, and eat them as a cooked green. We're going to go ahead and dig up the root, because that's what we really want to get to today. Now the root for a dandelion, if you've never seen one, pretty much grows straight down. So I'm just using my trowel, a garden scooper thing, shove it down as far as I can. Pull it back up, and just from experience, the taller the dandelion, the bigger the root. Kind of common sense. As you see there, that's the root of the dandelion. It's a pretty decent sized one with a worm in there. We'll put him back in the ground. Cover our hole in. Leave it as we found it. And we're going to go ahead and harvest these and cut off the root, and we're going to make some dandelion coffee here in a little bit, and then we're going to make something with the heads of the flower. And the dandelion root, you can clean this up and you can fry it, eat it as a cooked vegetable, eat it raw, or you could roast it, dry roast it in the oven. Slow. I just became a man. You can dry roast it in the oven slowly, and then
dry roast it in the oven.
And then what's this, payback for yesterday?
Yes, it is.
You can dry roast this in the oven and grind it down into a coffee powder, or you can do the way we're going to do it, which is a little bit more expedient, more field expedient of a way of making dandelion coffee, which is a good coffee substitute. It's not tea. Most things you make herbally is a tea, but this is a little bit stronger than the tea. It kind of gives a really weak coffee flavor. But we're going to make some of that, so we're going to go ahead and gather up and harvest a bunch of these, and we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, we're out here now. We've got a nice little harvest of dandelion cattails. Dandelion. We're to harvest the roots down. Some we harvest because we're going to be making something with the flower heads, but we're also going to be making the coffee with the root. And a couple things to do. Now, if you're going to do this in your home, you can cut the whole root off, clean it off, which I got a little can of water out here to clean all the dirt and all the debris off of it to get it nice and clean. And that's what it looks like there. You can cut the whole root off in your house and put the whole root on a bake pan and slowly dry roast them in your oven, and then take a grinder of some sort, hand grinder, electric grinder, grind it down into into the consistency of coffee grounds, fine ground. But we're going to do it as if we were out in the bush, or out in the woods doing it. And a couple things you need. Obviously, you're going to be able to wash them off. Need something to cut them with, and we're going to dry roast them in my stainless steel. Wow, I'm out of it today. In my cast iron frying pan there, and we just got our little wood stove. That's what we're going to cook everything on. So and then we can make our coffee from that. So all I'm doing is just simply going to cut the root off, and then I'm just going to, you can either mince some up, almost like a minced garlic, fine little chops. Some people come in and make a couple different shavings, or I've even seen some people take their knife and just scrape it to get even real fine shavings. But I find that just simply cutting small little pieces, I'll cut each root down. The little bigger ones I might cut in half, and I'll throw some in there with some long, real thin shavings to get this dry roasted, because these pieces are going to shrink down anyway when you roast them. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all cut up, and then right before we get to frying them, I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, we got a fire going here, and we got all our root cut up in the frying pan. So I got our little hobo stove here, just flipped upside down so we can put wood. I found these large coffee cans. You can use them up with the stove for smaller containers, and you can just flip them upside down, and these little tiny frying pans fit perfectly on it. Just give it a little bit of an escape from the smoke there. And we're just going to put this on here, let it roast, stir it around constantly. When you start getting golden brown, just a little bit, real dark golden brown to brown, almost black, you want to dry roast them about that long, and you'll see the color change. You'll see them shrink up a little bit. Like I said, they do shrink a good bit. That's why I cut mine a little larger than most. We're going to go ahead and let these finish roasting, and we'll be right back with you when they're done. Alright, so we got them roasted. We got some got a little dark and a little burnt, but we had some bigger pieces, but we made a little bit of a darker roast. So roast it however you want. We're just breaking it up. Some of the larger pieces are still left in there, but that's okay. It all does the same thing, but we're just breaking this up into some fine, dry grounds using my handmade mortar that I created last summer. And I'm going to continue working on that. I'm going to get the water on there. I'm going to go ahead and throw all these grounds into the water and bring that to a boil and let it boil and percolate itself for a while, and we'll be right back with you. Alright guys, we're back, and like I said, we put the coffee grounds in there after I crushed them up a little bit more, and got it a little bit to a boil, let it steep for a while, and not too much more than you would a tea, maybe a little bit longer than you would a normal strong roasting tea. I did a little bit longer than I did last time. Last time I brought the water to a boil quickly, threw the grounds in there, and it was a little bit weak, but so we did a little bit longer of a steep this time. And I got me 2 cups out here, one for me and one for Alan, my cameraman over here. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use my shemagh and just filter out some of this, filter out the grinds. Definitely darker. Make sure I don't overfill it here. Saw my video about shemaghs. They're great to have on you. Many uses. Filtering tea and coffee like this is okay to do. It's a little messy, but all you gotta do is let it dry, and you can shake them clean. And this is definitely a lot darker. I did roast the roots a little bit darker, burnt some of them, let them a little bit more of a dark roast I did last time. And it's a lot darker color than the last time I made this. So this should be a lot stronger. The last time I made it, it did taste like a very weak coffee. That's why it's called Dandelion Coffee and not Dandelion Tea. Because it's a coffee substitute. I'll let my shamag dry over here. And we'll let this cool for a bit, and we'll be back with the taste test. Alright guys, so we've been drinking our dandelion coffee out here, and just a little bit about dandelion coffee, dandelion root tea, or whatever you want to call it. It does have A, B, D, and E vitamins, and has a lot of other medicinal properties to it. I'm not going to name them all, misquote anything, but you can do the research and find it out. It does have a lot of medicinal properties. It is a diuretic, so if it's an emergency or a survival situation, you know, any tea or coffee, definitely anything with caffeine shouldn't be drank in a survival situation, because it is a diuretic, and it will cause you to urinate more, and but it's also believed to be a laxative and whatnot. But as far as the taste and drinking it as a tea, as you can see, we got it pretty dark. I want to say an average of about, you know, for a cup of coffee this size, you know, brewing about 2.5 to 3 tablespoons worth of the grounds makes a good strong cup. This is a good tasting cup. It does taste like a light brewed coffee, and you definitely get the aftertaste like you're drinking coffee. I mean, I'm tricked into believing I'm drinking coffee just drinking this, and it has a good taste to it. And with sugar, I'm drinking it with sugar and with milk too, and it's pretty pleasing. It's pretty good. So it's a good substitute for coffee. If you're out in the woods, you run out of coffee, or if you're a coffee drinker and you just need to have your coffee fixed, and there ain't a Wawa or a 7-Eleven or something around, you know, go out and dig up some dandelions and roast the roots. But it's pretty good, and I enjoy it. And if you want to find motivation or a way to get rid of all those pesky dandelions in your yard, go out and make coffee, and you'll be digging up the roots, and you'll be taking care of your dandelion problem. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Start speaking with Earth Walking Primitive. Thank you.